Welcome back to the shop, everybody. I'm just kind of putzing around the shop today. It's a cooler day out, clouds in the sky, and well, I was thinking about maybe trying to wire up the trailer, but I don't have the schematics and stuff for it, so I'm not real sure I want to do that today, but I do have everything for it here. I've got all the wires. I've got a whole bunch of wires here. I've got some of these here, which are like solder and wire sealers all in one. I've also got some of these little guys. They're clips to clip onto the trailer to hold the wires. And then of course I've got this guy here, which actually was real nice. It came with a holder for the plug and everything. So yeah, I'm going to be putting that on probably sometime this week. I don't really know how to do wiring on a trailer, so I may end up having a little bit of help with that. But yeah, I'm thinking that the controller piece, or that the big box may end up going right here, because I'll have the toolbox over that. And then I can put the little plug holder on the side here somewhere or something. Now, I was doing some calculations for the trailer height, and turns out it's going to be a little taller than I thought that it was, by like 4 inches, which puts the total trailer height at like 5'9", which I'm happy about, because that means that by the time I get a rack up top and stuff, and then I can get a awning, it will be just above my head, which I don't care. Tall people can go duck. This trailer's for me, so it should be pretty cool. I was thinking that it was gonna be like actually more closer up to here on me, but nope, it's just over my head by about an inch or two, so that is pretty awesome. So I'm happy about that. But I was also doing some more figuring here, and this here is for the floor layout, which obviously all this got changed when I changed up some stuff. However, the width on the trailer from the front view is actually only going to be 4'11.5". Now, Justin, you might be saying, but why is that? Because you've got a 5-foot wide trailer. Well, that's true. However, I need to compensate for the wall thickness that goes on the outside of the floor, as well as for the pylon, which both of those added up equals about 1/4 of an inch. So therefore, that means that I've got to take about 1/2 inch off of the entire width so that I can make up for that. Which, yes, that kind of stinks, because that means that I'm losing like that much room inside of the trailer. But really, it's not going to be that huge of a deal, because hopefully I'll be spending most of my time outside of the trailer anyway. So that means that I got to finish figuring out the floor here, because tomorrow I am going to be going over and getting the rest of the wood for the floor, as well as hopefully starting to build the floor. So yeah, guys, this project is moving right along, especially now that I got the walls done. Maybe by the end of this week or coming into next week, I might even be able to have the walls on the floor, if not in the next couple of days. So yeah, today I'm just basically figuring out some wiring and figuring out the floor layout and all that kind of stuff of the trailer. So that's all that I'm doing on the trailer today. We'll see you guys once I go to build the floor. And it is, of course, the next day. It is Monday, and I know that everybody else has had their time to complain about wood prices. However, I just got back from the lumber yard. I bought 1 piece of CDX, 2 pieces of good looking 3/4 plywood, and 3 1x6s. Almost $300. It came into like $280 for that. So it's no joke, guys. The lumber prices hurt. Physically hurt when you go to pay for them. And I did get 1 piece of the plywood that is actually treated, and I'm going to go ahead and use that for the main piece of the floor. Now, the reason why the whole floor isn't going to be treated is because, well, I didn't know about the treated beforehand. So I'm actually really considering taking back the 1 piece that I have that's not, and going ahead and getting another piece that is treated. It's going to cost me more, like 20 bucks more, once the refund is done. So I'm still debating on that, but let's take a look at the wood that I picked up. Here is the two 1x6s by 10s, and then one for the cross braces. So these will be going this way, and then I will have some of the other littler boards all the way down to the end of there. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because I am painting it, and that's part of the reason why I am painting it. If I was to go with like a cedar or one of the other really high fancy 3/4 quarter plies, it would probably be a lot closer to like $80 to $90 a sheet, which I just can't afford that. I can barely afford this. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting to that point of my savings for this project that things might have to slow down just because of wood costs, but we'll see. Anyway, it is time to get this wiring and stuff off of here and unload that. Alright, so I don't really have a choice now if I'm going to mix these two or not, because like I thought when I was at the lumber yard, the treated is definitely thicker than the non-treated. Take a look. So that is just about exactly 3/4 of an inch. The non-treated is definitely shorter than the 3/4 of an inch by like a 16th. So that means that it is time for me to go ahead and return the non-treated piece to the lumber yard and get a treated piece. And I'll be back once I've done that. Alright, little change here. I didn't get the treated one because I actually just went with the regular, because they said that that is gonna be good for what I'm using it for, and I gotta get this top one measured out and then start cutting. Alright, so here we go. Here's the floor. Well, not really. So all I've gotten done is the cutting up of it. And as you see here, we've got a 5-foot length for the tail or the front of the trailer. Not sure which yet. And then I've got about a foot piece right here. Now we need to router the mortise joints or whatever that joint is called here, like I did for the walls over there, to get these to glue together. So I'll glue them together after I route it out. This piece, as soon as I cut it, it got a huge bow in it. Look at this. So I'm gonna have to probably screw that actually to the table underneath it to get that bow out when I'm gluing it up. And so that is what I'm going to do right now. Now once I get this one glued up, I will then come back, I'll scoot the whole thing down, I will route out both these sides and get these glued together and sticking together as well. And then we have our base for our floor. So it's not a dunce hat, but it really should be. So after I routed out everything, which really doesn't have anything to do with the issue, I realized that I'm not to the right width that I'm supposed to be at, because I'm supposed to be at 4'11" and a half, right? Well, somewhere along the line I messed up, or my saw slipped or something. Either way, from this point all the way over to this point, well, as you can see, it's about 5/16 off what it should be. So how am I going to remedy this? Go out and buy 2 new sheets of plywood, rip this one apart before the glue sets? No, I'm doing neither of those. I'm going to take this here It's cut to 5/16 width, and I'm just going to glue and staple it onto the side. Now, will this really matter? I don't think it will, because most bonds with glue and wood is actually stronger than the wood. So I don't see an issue doing this. And the part that goes on the back right here is actually the right width. It's correct. So as you can see, it's sitting at that 4 and 11.5. So that one's good. The back's good. It's just that one side that's not. And now you might be saying, well, what about attaching the walls? Will that be an issue? It could be, however, it being just a 1/4 of an inch off, I don't think it's really going to matter, because where the pocket hole screw should go in should be a little bit closer to the other side here. So I'm not really worried about it. Plus, I think that the outside gets screwed into the side as well. So I'm not too worried about it. And that's how I'm going to fix this issue, because, well, I'm poor and I don't got enough money to go out and buy another piece of plywood. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that mistake right now. Guys out there that have much more woodworking experience than I do, and they're probably yelling at the screen right now telling me 5 different ways that I should have done this. Well, this is with my know-how and the little bit that I know. I think that this should hold. And there's a lot of guys out there that are like, well, I wouldn't have ever showed that mess up. Well, I'm not afraid to show you guys my screw-ups, because I think that it's all a part of learning. It's all a part of building something like this, especially for your first time. And that's what my channel is all about. It's not about showing you guys how to do things and build things properly. I'm just taking you guys along for the ride of the projects and the things that I'm doing. That being said, I'd really appreciate it if you do know a better way to fix this besides what I suggested with me taking it all apart, going and getting a whole new board and stuff. Because I know that would have been the right way to do this. However, I don't got the money to do that. So if you do know a different way that I could have went about this, please let me know down in the comment section so that I can learn from those that have more experience. Next step is to get the end piece glued on. So how I'm going to go about that is I'm going to unscrew both of these boards and move the whole thing down till I can get enough support on the table for this piece. Then of course I'm going to put down some more Reynolds wrap and put that underneath so that, once again, I don't glue anything to the table, because that'd be a huge dunce moment, and one that I definitely don't want to take. So one of the nice things about having a plywood bench underneath is that, well, I don't really have to worry about screwing to it to use it as a clamp, which I found out is coming in very handy. And there we go. We should have a just about 5 foot in length by 10 foot long floor. So let's see. And I came out short at the end too. But that's actually okay, because I'm not accounting for the floor or the roof on the outside of the trailer, as well as I'm not accounting for the pylon. So because it's just that much off, I also got a door to put in too, so that very well may bring that back a little bit more too. So I'm not worried about that. As you can see with this crude drawing here, we've got boards going all the way around the perimeter of the floor, as well as some boards going in between. And then we got a bunch of plywood right at the back. So what I got to do right now is I got to get the 6-inch wide pieces cut from here to here and for the end. Alright, so let me catch you guys up. So what I have here is 6-inch boards bordering the entire thing. Then I have these little 1x2s, which actually is like 3/4 by 1.5 wide. That is separating the center section here. Down here you'll find some plywood. Now this needs to be chopped off right about there so that it can drop down in the center. Then I need to take some scrap and fill up all the rest of the back where the galley is going to be. That'll give me something to screw to for the divider and anything else that I may need to do, instead of just having a little piece of 1/4-inch plywood on top of here. It'll have the full 3/4 plus a piece of 1/4 inch. One thing that I still need to figure out is if I'm going to go with a lengthwise, so a full sheet of 8 foot, or if I want to go ahead and do it so that it's 4 feet, back 5 feet, another 4 feet, and 5 feet that way. So I'm laying them this way instead of the lengthways. If I do this way, I probably won't have to move these or add these very often. However, if I go this way with the large piece of plywood, I'll need to add in one of those like in between the dividers so that the sides have some place to sit besides the insulation. In between these is getting some 3/4 foam insulation. Now the reason why I went with 6-inch wide sides is because that's what the bolts from the actual trailer frame get bolted through to hold the top of the trailer or the living area of the trailer to the frame of the trailer. So what I need to do is I need to glue all of these down, and I think I may just go ahead and nail them because I think that should be enough. I don't think I really need to put a ton of weight on these. That one over there does have a little bit of a twist in it, so I might put something on top of one of those. And as far as these go, they're just there to help support the floor and the insulation so that you don't get big dips and stuff once the 1/4 inch stuff is laid out on top. Alright, so as you guys can see, I got all of the edges here glued and nailed in place just so then I didn't have to, put a bunch of clamps on them. This side over here, I ended up nailing probably about twice more than I did any of the other pieces because it was kind of warped in there. So I've got all of the boundary pieces done, which is great. I also glued and nailed these into place as well, so they're not going anywhere, which will make a great base for anything that I may need to screw to it for the galley. Now guys, I was thinking that my galley was going to be like a stretch, but really I'm glad that I went with this 10 feet because I think the almost 2 feet that it gives for the galley is going to be a really good decision in the long run. Now there are a few places that aren't perfect, like there's a little gap right here, and one of these sides here, this one here, isn't quite flush, but that shouldn't really be a big deal because we've got a piece of plywood plus a piece of Phylon going on the outside of this, it won't ever be seen. However, in these cracks, I think I might go ahead and squeeze some PL Premium just so that nothing can get in there. Now, as you saw, I used a brush to brush this glue onto the 1x6s, and I have to say, with using Titebond 3 in a brush, I am not a fan. After rolling the other pieces for the walls, that is about the only way that I will go about applying glue to any large surfaces now as far as any Titebond product goes, because, well, it is just so much smoother with a roller than it is a brush. Next video, I will hopefully be putting insulation in here, as well as putting that last 3/4 quarter plywood on top. And guys, we're getting awfully close to being able to put the walls on. I'm thinking that I'm going to paint the bottom of this floor, and then I'll be able to put the walls on here hopefully in the next week or two. Looks like the weather's not going to be the greatest for the next couple of days, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to finishing this floor. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you don't miss the next video in this series. And until next time, as always, you have a good one.